Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shah, Bahasham Rachak, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David. Scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be. Wherever you may be, to you I say Shalom, Yeshua, Shalom. All right, we're going to get back into a little lesson on the side here. I punched something in the AI, Ask AI, right? Because we just obviously just went through this topic, but, you know, it's always interesting to see what AI chat says, man. So here's the question I popped in. I couldn't exactly, you know, get exactly what I wanted to ask it, so I just, thought let's word it this way. All right. So this is what popped up. It says, where in the Bible does it mention John the Baptist questioning who the Messiah was? Which of course we know that's in Matthew chapter 11. All right. Now it doesn't exactly say he questioned who the Messiah. I mean, well, I guess it kind of, put it. But let's read this. This is what makes it interesting as we read. All right. So let's just read, all right, so we can make the point. Here's an analysis of where the Bible mentions John the Baptist questioning who the Messiah was. The questioning of Yahushua's identity. The primary passage that addresses John the Baptist's questioning of Yahushua's identity are found in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke, which we read the one in Matthew. There's right there, Matthew 11, 2 and 3 states, now when John heard in prison about the deeds of the Messiah, he sent word by his disciples and said to him, are you the one who is to come, or shall we look for another? All right, Luke 7, 19 and 20 says, provides a parallel account, and John, calling to him two of his disciples, sent them to the Lord, saying, are you the one who is to come, or shall we look for another? And when the men had come to him, they said, John the Baptist has sent us to you, saying, are you the one who is to come, or shall we look for another? These verses clearly indicate that John the Baptist, while in prison, sent his disciples to Yahushua to inquire about his identity as the Messiah. And check this out. According to the Gospel of John, John the Baptist had already identified Yahushua as the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world, which we just went through in John 1. That's very key, okay? He said it twice in that chapter, as we mentioned, because those are the scriptures right there, 29 and 34. He also testified that Yahushua was the Son of the Most High. However, the accounts in Matthew and Luke suggest a later moment where John, facing imprisonment and perhaps uncertainty, sought further confirmation. Now check out what this says here. I found this interesting. I haven't read all of it, but I read this little portion here, like a couple of these paragraphs. It says, interpretations and context. There are several interpretations of why John the Baptist asked this question. One theory suggests that John's faith was wavering due to his circumstances as he was in prison and facing potential death. He may have been expecting a more immediate manifestation of the Messiah's power and judgment, and the delay caused him to doubt, which is a beautiful thing that's here, because many people had the same, the very same disciples who became apostles had the same feeling, man. They says, are you now going to restore the kingdom to the Israelites, right? So they thought that when Yahushua popped up, like it was going to happen right then and there back then, you see? But it was for a later date, right? So you can't hold this to John and not hold it to everyone else, or hold it to the disciples who became apostles, whoever else it might apply to. Can't hold that to John, all right, and not anyone else, all right, who had the same feeling that John had, and rightfully so. You know why? Because we're in the flesh, you see? It says, okay, it says another theory proposes that John's question was for the sake of, see, that's what I want to get to right here. This is what I thought was very interesting. It says another theory proposes that John's question was for the sake of his disciples to solidify their faith in Yahushua. John, knowing his time was limited, may have wanted to ensure his followers would continue to follow Yahushua, which they came back with word of what? The things that he was doing. All right, healing the blind and so on and so forth. All the things that we read in the matter of fact, it should still be here because I don't think I closed it out. Yeah. Oh, hold up. Took us away. Get a minute. Okay, here it is. Yeah, right here, Matthew 11 and 5. The blind see, the lame walk, the lepers are cured, the deaf hear, the dead are raised to life, and the good news is being preached to the poor. There you go. And tell them, the Most High blesses those who do not turn away because of me. See? That ain't straightforward. Then what is? Right? So if you go back and it says what? Another theory proposes that John's question was for the sake of his disciples to solidify their faith in Yahushua. John, knowing his time was limited, may have wanted to ensure his followers would continue to follow Yahushua, right? So they themselves for sure already know because they saw the miracles and they went back and told him about the miracles, right? But John, caring for his disciples, right, wanted to ensure that they're going to follow the Messiah. So that would make sense too. Not saying that this is it. I'm just making a point from this, right? That would also make sense. Okay, and he warned them, all right. Because when it says that they came to him as he was baptizing, I forgot exactly where it says he was, all right. But because it says there was plenty of water there for the baptizing, it was like people are coming to him and not to you and not to us anymore, all right. Which he was still baptizing people, but that huge crowd was no longer coming to him because of Yahushua. And he assured them that, hey, he could do nothing except for give it to him from heaven above, right? Okay, so we know that this man, all right, is doing the right thing, all right, because if it wasn't given to him from heaven above, he couldn't do what he was doing. Now, I haven't read this, but it says Yahushua's response to John's question involved pointing to his works. Yahushua's response to John's question involved pointing to his work. You see? Yeah, that's what I just mentioned. Go and tell John what you hear and see. The blind receive their sight, and the lame walk. Lepers are cleansed, and the deaf hear, and the dead are raised up, and the poor have good news preached to them. Matthew 11, verse 4 and 5, Luke 7 and 22. This response affirmed Yahushua's identity as the Messiah by referencing the prophecies of Isaiah. Let's see what that says here. Well, we already read Matthew 11, 4 and 5, Luke 7 and 22. Let's see what that says. Probably the same thing, but let's just go over there. Luke 7 and 22. Then he told John's disciples, go back to John and tell him what you have seen and heard. The blind see, the lame walk, the lepers are cured, the deaf hear, the dead are raised to life. The good news is being preached to the poor, and tell them that Most High blesses those who do not turn. So it's the same thing, the same exact thing, right? So going back, right? So yep. So that was those scriptures. Just making sure, all right? Because you never know. This response affirmed Yahushua's identity as the Messiah by referencing the prophecies of Isaiah. All right. So yeah, that's exactly what I just said. Yahushua's response to John's question involved pointing to his works. Go and tell John what you hear and see. Right. The blind receive their sight, and the lame walk. The lepers are cleansed, and the deaf hear, and the dead are raised up, and the poor have good news preached to them. Okay. This response affirmed Yahushua's identity as the Messiah by referencing the prophecies of Isaiah. All right. So summary, the Bible mentions John the Baptist questioning who the Messiah was in Matthew. So it really just even the summaries that run around. All right. But whatever. Okay. We get it. All right. We know he was in the truth. All right. We know no one's, argue with that all you want, but we know John the Baptist was in the truth. Okay. Did we skip anything? Yeah, I think we covered everything because there wasn't much here anyways, right? So yeah, just a little quick something that I put in there in the AI thing. All right, I'm just trying to make sure I didn't leave any point out that I wanted to make, but you get it. All right, we just went through this. All right, many brothers have gone through with the apostles. All right, so on and so forth. All right, so hey, he's become this topic here has become this week's food on the table. All right, so yeah, so we'll leave it at that. Lord willing, you edify to next time. I'm going to say shalom.